Hey cuties! So today I'm going to be doing a story time a few years ago, and I just remembered it and I thought it had a really good message. You guys always ask me for story times and my life is boring. I literally go out for Starbucks like 4 times a week and shop. Like, I don't really run into things. I know y'all don't mind if I do story times of my past if they're interesting, so here's a story time for you. So I was in university for approximately 3 years, and in those 3 years I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was in many different classes and courses because I changed what I wanted to do like 3 different times. For me, myself and I was like, I gotta write down everything the prof says. I gotta write down everything. I have to sticky note. I gotta highlight. This is gonna be on the test. I like literally pull out like balloon streamers and tape them to them and be like important. Because it's also expensive for university. So I took it very seriously. So one of these classes was nutrition class. And I took it because I love food. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I took it very seriously. I took it because I love food very seriously.
And then when I get to nutrition class, there are people that are, you know, going into quite serious things. They're going into PhDs or like real serious things. Like one person that was becoming like some engineering something. I was like, why are you in nutrition class? I don't know. I took it because I like food, girl. They'd be like, who in the class likes chicken fingers? And I'd be like, me, oh my god, I love them with plum sauce. And then they'd be like, okay, great. So what molecules and atoms and what kind of circumference are the actual chicken fingers on average? We're gonna get into the sucrose of the chicken finger and then break down that into energy atoms and how much do you need that for 1 calorie and how many Your girl's like, if you need nutrition facts, why don't you just ask McDonald's for a nutrition menu? I'm just kidding. Okay, calm down. So nutrition class. It was a lot. That class just wasn't for me, but I paid attention. I literally wrote down every note. And in this class, there was this girl. Now, you didn't have assigned seating. You just sat wherever. Like, the prof would just start speaking at that time. It was just like kind of come at your own will, and if you want to come and learn, then he or she will speak and teach you. Some profs were more like interactive, like people would be texting in the class and most profs didn't care, but some would be like, you know, put your phone away, I'm trying to teach. Some would just like go there, lecture, and then be done. Everyone had their own style, but anyway, so this prof would just start speaking and everyone would kind of sit wherever. I would try to sit as close to the front as possible without sitting right in the front and being like this. So I kind of sat in the same area the whole time. A lot of people did, you know, stick to the same, at least setup as they always did. And there was this one girl that walked in there, and the reason why I went through that backstory of like people were taking it for higher things, they all had like their notepads, or some people documented on laptops. There were some foreign exchange students who literally had just, I'm not sure what it was, but it was some kind of device. I would assume like a translator, how they would record the prof speaking and then it would translate into their language. So a lot of people had different ways to take notes. And there was this one girl who came in with nothing. Not a backpack, a purse, yes, a little purse, you know, like it was just like one that she had like her lip gloss and her phone in. And I'm not just like stereotyping her, she had her lip gloss and phone in. When I like look at, you know, somebody doing things in their life, I don't really care, but this is pertaining to the story. So she would come in and just take a seat, usually around where I was sitting, and just text. She'd be sitting behind me, but beside me, you know what I mean? Like in the row or 2 up. So I just like see her kind of like scrolling through her phone. I thought maybe she was voice recording it because some people did that too. I wasn't really watching other people, you know what I mean? But I just kind of noticed her because of that reason. Like she had no books, no pens, no pencils, nothing. Just like, you know, she would just put on lip gloss sometimes or just be like not at all paying attention. So whatever, right? I take my notes like a madman. A couple days later, and then did the same thing, taking notes like a madman. And then this time she sat a little closer to me doing the same thing. And this time I'm like, is she like really, really smart that, you know, like she just retains all this information and can just, you know, do that? Honestly, maybe like a week or 2 went by of the same thing, not one pen, nothing. She just came here every single day and did that. And then one day I decided to be like some snoop, because your girl likes to know who, when, where, what, how, what are you doing? I can't just like mind my own business. I have to be like, who are you? Why aren't you taking notes? Do you have a photographic memory? Like, can you teach me? Like, do you take a pill that just like makes you retain all all this information, and then when you have a test, it just like brings it all up. Can I have that pill? I sit like right near where she's going to sit, and sure enough, she sits right next to me. And when she comes in, she goes, hey, like very, very nice. Such a sweet girl. Beautiful, gorgeous. And I'm like, hi. And I didn't want to be like, why aren't you taking notes? But she sits right beside me and she starts like going on, and now I'm like paying attention obviously to the prof, but like looking at what she's doing, because you know you glance over and you can see what somebody's doing on their phone, literally Facebook, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is this girl? Is she a robot? Like, is this someone from the Illuminati sent someone there to like watch over the prof? And then I'm like, this is the prof's daughter or something like that. I'm just going off, taking my notes, and then she was like, bye, like really nice after the class. Obviously, I never watched what she did like before the class or after the class. I only witnessed her sitting right there. So let's get into the juicy part. So a few times after that, I still continued to sit closer to her. And then we started talking. I was like, hey, how's your day? And we would just talk. And then not like friends, but you know, just like general conversation. Like, oh, I have a booster juice today. Oh, what did you get? Oh, I love it. And then I'm like, oh, why don't you take notes? And she's like, oh, I don't go to university. It's a pretty penny to go to university. Okay, like this isn't a cheap thing. This is something a lot of people take very, very seriously. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have the grades, you gotta have the money or student loans, whatever it is, but people take this very seriously. And she's like, oh, I don't go here. And I'm like, what? I felt in that moment Mean Girls, like, she doesn't even go here. I felt like just standing up and saying that. She doesn't even go here. And I was honestly shocked, like, what do you mean? And she said, oh, then she like kind of lowered her voice a little bit, and she's like, I just go to all the classes where people are taking, what did she say, like higher up education or trying to further their education, AKA like PhDs and shit like that. And I try to find out who's doing what for their future careers, and then I will choose my husband or future husband in that way. What do you say to that? You sitting there right now watching me talk right now. What do you say to that? What's your reply? Because mine was, oh. Like with my booster juice. That's your own path in life. I'm not somebody to judge. But when somebody just blatantly in my face tells me, I don't go to school, I'm literally looking for my future husband who's gonna be rich. Like, and I was like, so, and then because she was so open with me, I decided to ask her some questions, like not in a mean way or like trying to downplay her or anything like that, but I was just extremely curious. I'm like, well, how do you know when the classes are, right? Because like when I pay my money for university, I get a syllabus and a schedule and all that for each class. And she's like, well, I kind of just, you know, ask around. You can also go online, and in most of the classes and everything will be online, and you don't have to pay to go to classes, right? So you pretty much can have free education as long as there's open seats. Because, and she explained this to me, a lot of people that take a class, especially because this class I was in, it was one of the biggest auditoriums, I think it's what it's called. It was an auditorium, like it was huge, like it sat hundreds of people in this. So she's like, not all those hundreds of people are gonna go to these classes. So that's why I tend to go to the big rooms, because there's always going to be a spot, nobody's going to call you out, so you're kind of just like, what did she say, like a needle in a haystack type like analogy is what she was trying to imply. And I'm sitting there like, oh, this is my path. Just kidding. It was before the prof came, so we were able to like talk and chit chat before. I was like, oh, well, I thought nutrition was about food, so I came here to learn about food. And she's like, well, yeah, there's lots of different courses that people will take as like a lower course, and then we'll get higher up. She's like, I already tried to like go to the PhD section or whatever the fuck, or people are like doing actual medical sciences. She said, but all of them already have like relationships and they're like too far into their studies. I kind of want to like attach and latch. Latch was her freaking word. I want to latch on now so that, you know, I can grow with them and then get a career and help them and push them to a bigger, better position along the way, you know? I was like, yeah, I know. Girl, I wanted to immediately in that moment phone my mom and tell her what the hell was going on, because my mom's my best friend. I literally tell her everything. Like if I take a huge poop, I'll be like, hey mom, like look. But I was like so flabbergasted at this, and she's like, oh, you've never heard it? You never heard that before? She was like kind of like offended that I never heard of anyone like her, and I was like, no. And she said, well, because I don't take notes. If you see a lot of people that aren't taking notes, that's generally what they do. And some girls, she was that I know that are doing this are in the bigger classrooms like this, because if you go to the smaller classrooms, there's like only as like 30 or so seats, small classrooms. You don't go to those because then you're not going to be able to interact with people after and see what kind of grades, you know, when people get their tests back and it's a cute boy, you can just see what kind of grades they get, and then make a mental note or just document it in your phone what classes, who is having the higher grades, and then go talk to them after and just like chit chat. It can be a full-time job for me, so that's why I take it as that. She says I have another job on the side that I do at nights, but this is my full-time job where I come here because I am planning for my future. Like this is me being responsible for my future. Like I want a good stable income and I have a lot to offer. I'm good at cooking and cleaning. And she was like literally going off. I bet there's gonna be people out there who don't believe this story. I didn't believe it, and I was sitting there, I was like, am I like, where's Ashton Kutcher? Am I being punked? Like I don't get it. So afterwards I told my mom, and my mom was like me, like what? Like that's crazy. And then I told my dad, and my dad went to university. So my dad says to me, oh yeah, there was girls like that too, who kind of just like hung around the universities and just watched people. Yeah, I've seen that before, I've heard that before. I just had never witnessed something like that, and I genuinely want to know your thoughts. And when I said at the beginning of this that it has a good message, that's not what I mean. Like don't like go out there and do that. My message is don't try to look for a relationship based on money. I mean, based on money or power or whatever you want to say, education. Yes, it is very important to people to, you know, be with somebody who is educated or does have money. Some people are like that, but my advice to you is to just have a relationship happen naturally. But I don't feel like you should have a set goal of a relationship, like goals you set for like your own future of yourself. Like I want to be a doctor, so I'm gonna do this and do this along the way. Like I want to hit 1 million subscribers, so I'm gonna do this and this along the way, right? I can't say like I want a husband who's gonna do this and make this X amount of money and, you know, have this kind of career set, and I'm not gonna date anyone else and this is my full-time job going to look. That's just not my life. Maybe there's some people watching this right now who do that or have cousins that do that or sisters that do that. Everyone has their own walk and path in life. And like, what would be your advice to her? Do you agree with her? Like, do you say, oh yeah, like, you know, life's too short, you better get money because money makes the world go round, you know? Or do you think on the flip side of how on the lines I'm thinking, like you don't just settle for somebody because they have money. That's pretty much what you're doing, is like picking and choosing somebody that has money so that you can build and like latch, as she said, onto somebody and grow with them. That to me is like manipulation. Like, I don't know. She was a very sweet girl, gorgeous girl. She seemed like she would be a really good girlfriend in the way she talked to me, but just like her plans and her set, everything in life, like you can't plan it, because if you have a set plan, let's say that she does, or she is right now, because that was a while ago, did marry somebody or is latched onto somebody right now who is going to make or is making a lot of money and doing very good career moves and making money moves. And what if they get sick? Or what if they lose their job? What if they get fired? What if they fail? What if they don't get into now medical school or whatever school they're going into? Like, what if plans don't go as planned? Then are you just gonna leave them? You know, I just think that's really sad, because what if Frank really loves you back? And that's really sad for Frank, because he truly loves you and wants to be in a relationship with you, and then when he has something wrong happen in his life or his career, his money, and then you just leave him. Like, what kind of support is that? That's so sad. So you guys, you can't force love. Don't push love. Don't just be with somebody for specifics. Like, you can have, like, people have their lists. You know, you want somebody tall or you want somebody athletic. I think you can have, like, general lists, but you might fall in love with somebody who is against all of those. I don't know. I've thought of this for so long, and it just like popped in my head the other day. I'm like, oh my god, do you remember that girl? Like, I was in the bathroom, I was like, Samantha, talking to myself, do you remember that girl? Like, that's crazy. I wonder what she's doing now. If she found her man, or if she's still trying to latch onto one like a leech. Being somebody who is independent and who makes their own money and whatever that is, like even when I worked at Value Village, I was independent and I made my own money and I paid my own bills. I could never do that, because I feel like when I do things for myself and make money for myself, it makes me feel a sense of accomplishment. Like, I did it and this is mine. I can hold it, I can grasp it, this is mine, I did this. Even if you make like literally 50 bucks, like at a job, at a part-time job, minimum wage, that's the 50 bucks you made, girl. I would like a little bit of a discussion in the comments. Don't let anybody attack anyone. Everyone has different opinions, you know, like one person, Cindy's opinion down there could be different from Patricia's opinion down there, and poor Frank. But basically at the end of that conversation, the prof basically walked in and then started speaking, so then we obviously stopped talking, and then I started taking notes, and then she continued to scroll on her phone doing whatever she was doing, and then afterwards she was like, have a good day, bye. And then after that I kind of like sat a little like in my original spot, and then we would just say like hey to each other periodically, but that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you guys have a great day. I don't know, I can't say for you to not do these things because your life is your life, but maybe you can take some insight from this video, and I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye.